The president, who said he is fully engaged and, quote, will leave it all on the field by the end of his term, clearly working to prove that he's far from a lame duck president, making lofty promises about everything from Guantanamo Bay prisoners to the criminal justice reform that's been something that matters to him. He wants it fairer, smarter, about reducing crime. But for how the president scored, because he took on ISIS once again, I'm joined now by somebody who's covered Washington for decades, Bret Baier, host of Fox News' Special Report. Bret, it was a wide-ranging report here that he talked about, but jumped out when he said we're going to defeat ISIS, but they will continue to be dangerous. What do you think was the takeaway line with all of the subjects he attacked?
Liz, good afternoon. I think, listen, this is part of a rollout that he has had, the White House has been doing at the Pentagon, at the National Counterterrorism Center, calming fears. Interesting that the New York Times had this quote that he apparently told columnists that he didn't really get a sense of what the Americans felt after the Paris attacks, that there was so much anxiety because he wasn't watching cable news. Surprising that didn't come up in this news conference. Also surprising, not a ton of news. You mentioned Gitmo, taking that below 100 by next year. That had been a goal, and he's going to continue to press that. Saying Libya is clearly falling into chaos and expressing some regret for U.S. policy in Libya. But other than that, news-wise, this was not a big mover.
Don't you think it was interesting, though, that just as he was taking the podium, the story was being released about Chuck Hagel, the former defense secretary, who has now said that the Obama administration basically tried to ruin him, meaning Hagel, and that they kept deferring big decisions, specifically on taking on Syria after Syria crossed the so-called red line using chemical weapons. All of that preceded this news conference. How much of an effect does that have on the perception of what's going on in both Washington and at the Pentagon?
Listen, if you read the memoirs and see the interviews of former Defense Secretary Bob Gates, former Defense Secretary and CIA Director Leon Panetta, and now former Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel, all of them have not complimentary things to say about how this White House operates, how it is top-down, how it is micromanaging, and how it had squelched some pretty big decisions, according to Hagel, on Syria. So the president is still living with the tough time post-red line, when Syria was going to use chemical weapons. They did, and the U.S. did not do anything about that. I think he's still explaining that to this day.
Let me just get a quick comment from you about what he said regarding Speaker Paul Ryan. They've gotten this budget through, both the House and the Senate. The president all but said it's going to happen. He's happy to sign this. This is a rare moment of bipartisanship. He said some nice things. He gave kudos to Paul Ryan as well. But what happens now in 2016 when everybody gets back to work from their holiday?
Yeah, there are not a lot of conservatives jumping up and down about this omnibus bill, Liz, and frankly, there's some Democrats who say that they didn't really like everything that's in it, but it was crammed in there, and they got it through.
Isn't that a good sign, though, Bret, when both sides are a little unhappy with it?
Right, there's some happiness there, and you should have seen the video, Liz, of them all leaving after the vote. I mean, the mass exodus for the airplane. I think that the president is touting that, but he's got rough road ahead with Congress, and that's why he's looking to executive action for some of these things.
A lot of work to be done. Bret, thank you very much. Bret Baier, host of Special Report on the Fox News Channel. You can see it every day at 6 p.m. Eastern. Have a lovely holiday, Bret.
You too.
Thank you.